All right, guys. It looks like I've got a visitor all of a sudden. Like as we're starting, as I hit the record button, my cat comes out of nowhere and wants to join in on the fun, I guess here. But this is one of our LGR community rankings. That's why I put the Patreon thing up at the front, especially because this is about the Patreons being inside the Discord and stuff. We do these little fun things like, hey, give us your top 5, whatever. And this one right here is going to be the top 5, like voted on like adaptations. And we didn't want to do like say comic
book
books,
to
like
film adaptations.
Yes, exactly. So like, and these are going to be non-comic book, like non-superhero stuff, because we did that the first time. So this one right here was made strictly for the next one. Our next one is actually going to be, we're going to probably have 2 this month, because our next one will probably do it between Christmas and New Year's. But our next one's going to actually be about Christmas movies, the top 5 Christmas movies that our community thinks are the top 5 Christmas movies. This is a community thing. This is not me, Ferris, and Matt alone doing these rankings. These are not our personal rankings or whatever. And we'll like when they pop up, we'll share like which ones we agree with and don't. But how you guys doing today?
I'm here to shame people.
Yeah,
you've already shame them all.
You've already
today,
got some buttons ready.
We're probably gonna lose some patrons.
All right, maybe. One of the things I do want to do right here before we get straight into the top 5 is I did want to talk about the honorable mentions. The honorable mentions, like ones that like kind of made the cut and got voted on, but didn't actually make the top 5. Coming in at number 10 was The Martian out of nowhere. We got
why? Like it's not even that good of a movie.
I don't know, man. Somebody out there voted for this. I
didn't know it was a book. Either. It was a book,
but almost everything's been a book, to be honest with you. That's one thing that I started doing, like noticing, like when we started actually bringing this up, is like, oh God, almost everything's based on a book. Especially back in the day, right? Almost everything was based on novels and stuff like that. But we had number 9 at Wizard of Oz. I see that big time popular.
Oh yeah, Wizard of Oz. Like yeah. That was number 9. Really?
That was number 9.
Technological marvel at the time.
I mean, but you know what? That's another thing. Like part of the people that voted on this may not have realized that Wizard of Oz was actually like a novel and not just a screenplay written. You know what I'm saying? Because it looks like a movie.
Justin, it's not a novel either. It's a series of like 10 books.
Damn. Okay.
It's like 10. Right. It's like 10 books in this series.
Yep, I'm pretty much blind in the space of the Wizard of Oz. Number 8 coming in.
Wrong. I don't know.
Well, I was going to say number 8 was Blade Runner, which I thought, because we do have a nerd-centric community, you know what I'm saying, like geek culture stuff, that maybe Blade Runner would have even made the top 5, but it came in at number 8.
Here's the thing, man. Justin, here's the thing. People overrate Blade Runner's fans and impact. Okay, I'm sorry. It's like it's a fine film. It's good.
Yeah, man. The second one was
it's not that. I'm sorry. When it takes you 4 times to make a movie, right? The movie ain't good.
I totally agree with you a little bit, Ferris. I actually like the original one a little bit better. I think the second one was like, you know how like you got like Instagram or whatever, and you got that beautiful model that posts pictures on there.
It's all
and
filters.
You're like, yeah. So like, but not even without the filters. You're just like, oh yeah, that's a beautiful picture of a beautiful woman. That's all kind of like what Blade Runner 49 was to me, was really about, was just like, oh man, we're just gonna make a beautiful movie. The story and everything is gonna be second fiddle to how it looks. That's what I haven't
seen the new one. I've seen the old one. I watched the cut. They told me to watch the director's cut.
Yeah,
I watched the director's cut. They said that's the best cut, Ferris.
Yeah, but then they usually release the final cut. That's the one.
Yeah, 500 people will tell you there's a different cut out there that's like better than that one and everything else. But
I'm saying like, with like the first version, studio got in the way. Fine, that's fine, but you couldn't fix it on the second one. Also, you had to have a third one. Now you had a fourth one, bro.
I think there's 5 versions of it.
Yeah, no, and then I can understand like the international cuts where they have to like get rid of stuff for like the international, viewing laws. That's fine, but I'm talking about like the ones in America. There's like 4 different versions, bro. Like, I haven't even read the book. Is the book like?
It's kind of like crap. What is that? Like Skyrim, the video game's got like 10 different versions. It's the same game, but they keep like adding like Skyrim, or the one right after like Elder Scrolls. They like have so many versions of the game.
Well, they update the game. It's an update. Like
no. This is like they sell different boxes of the game. Like, you can buy the game now, and then like you get this or whatever.
So it's like Madden and NBA 2K. It's literally the same game.
Right. So like this next group was 2 films, and they tied at 6, which would be technically the 6th and 7th spot would be the Shawshank Redemption and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Like two really great movies that, like, if you look at it, possibly could have made the top 5. Like Shawshank Redemption, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, just not a movie for me. Like I understand that like a lot of people like the movie and think it's really good. But the Shawshank Redemption movie, for instance, is like one of my favorites of all time. Like it's one of the greatest movies out there, written by Stephen King. Now, one of the things though with this one is I don't think it was a pure novel. I think it was actually like more of a screenplay written by Stephen King, which a lot of people don't recognize when they see the movie because it doesn't have any of that weird horror stuff in it. It's just like a movie about a dude who gets wrongfully thrown in prison for something that you would be like, oh man, why is he going to prison for that?
I've never seen it.
Shawshank Redemption?
Wow. No,
bro, you better put that crap on your like first time watch, Ferris.
Yeah, I'll add it.
Yeah, you gotta do that one, dude. That's an amazing movie. But like I said, it's also the screenplay I know written by Stephen King. But now it's time to start hitting this top 5 that we have going on.
The drum roll, please.
Yeah. And coming in at number 5 for the LGR Community Rankings is Harry Potter. And we just kind of threw like some of these obviously have multiple movies. We're not picking a single movie from it. So like if it was like a franchise type of deal that started because of books or whatever, we threw the whole group into one. So Harry Potter as a group comes in at number 5. Now, one of the things before we get to you guys' thoughts, one of the things on this one right here that I actually think is that this may have actually been a higher ranking if we would have done this, say, like 5 or 6 years ago. I think that Harry Potter's kind of fallen off because of the new movies and because of what's been happening with like.
I don't think it's because of the new movies. Novels. I don't think Harry Potter has gotten love flag because of the new movies. The new movies have nothing to do with the old movies. It's the person who created the books that's really kind of
controversial. Not even controversial. They're wrong.
Yeah. So yeah, growing up, man, a 5. The problem is, man, I don't know if 5 is right for it because I need to see 4, 3, 2, and 1. Because here's the thing, guys, I haven't seen the list. I didn't see the list. I didn't peek at the list. I don't know what 4 through 1 is. I don't know, so I can't say they're over Harry Potter yet. But growing up, I love these films, right? You know, let me tell you a story of how much I love these films. HBO became HBO Max. You know, like that, right? First week of HBO Max being HBO Max, I watched every single Harry Potter film in 1 week. Right. All of them. I watched them all. Really, start to finish. And I like those films. I'm a big fan of Daniel Radcliffe. He's cool. He seems really cool. I like Daniel Radcliffe. You know, big fan of Emma Watson. Hermione Granger. I like Hermione. You know, fun fact, you know, Robert Pattinson is in these films. So that's cool. You know, he played Cedric Diggory. So there's that. I like these films. Yeah, and homie got his clock shocked because he did.
Yeah, he did.
That's not a spoiler, people. The movie's like 15 years old.
I mean, yeah, look.
Sorry.
This is a group of movies that I like watched a couple of them and didn't like hate them, but I didn't fall in love with them like a lot of other people and felt the need of, I got to finish the series.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, because there's like kind of like shifts in these movies. The first 2 are children's films. They're children's films. They have a little scariness in it, but not too much to like scare your kid to death. But they are like legit children's films. The first 2. 3 is when it became young adult YA type stuff. From like 3 to the Order of the Phoenix. So those, and then towards the end, you know, even though they're still in college, it feels kind of more grown up in that sense, right? It's real world stuff. It's horrific stuff. You know, Hermione had to like erase her mom and dad. Damn, man, I'm trying to give him a speech about this.
He's giving a soliloquy.
Come on, bro. Yeah, get out of here. So Hermione had to like erase her parents' memory of her. It got deep. The Weasleys, you know, they've paid a heavy price in survival. 2 of their one of the twins dies, you know, in the battle, and like another one of their kids is a sellout to the Ministry of Magic. It's very intriguing, you know, and you know, there are little things that they kind of change it for the movie. The movie changes it from the book. There's little things. I think, because in the movie, man, you're making these movies. You're not making these movies for Harry Potter fans, the book readers. You're not making them. You're making it for the general audience, And there's this one scene where, they're fighting. He's fighting Voldemort at the end. And in the books, they're fighting. They're not fighting outside. They're not fighting it's like it's not grandiose, and it's not like, it's in the book, they're in the cafeteria, and Harry Potter keeps calling Voldemort Tom because his real name is Tom Riddle. He kept calling him Tom to try to basically destroy his dark mystique of evilness, because he's just like, you're just Tom Riddle, you're not Voldemort. But in the movie, they go to battle. They go to battle. They fight. They kill each other. They fly through the sky. It's kind of visually crazy. And they do that wand thing, and magic crashes, and it's like, without the guns. There's not no guns and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was about to say, bro, what they got?
No guns. I'm just making random sound effects. But that's what happens. Yeah, exactly. Yo, man.
Sideways.
Harry pulled out the Glock and pop, pop, pop. You know what I mean? But yeah, but it's not like that, right? Because people read the books more as the movies came out. But initially, some people don't read a lot. Nowadays, people don't read a lot, and and people just kind of when they go to movies, they want to see something cool. They want to see something good. So they made it for a general public thing, and the general public fell in love with the movies. All the things that people complain about before J.K. Rowling went off the deep end. The things that people would complain about it were, oh, they changed this from the book. Yeah. They changed that from the book. You know what I mean? But a movie's not a book. You got to change it in the movie, because in the book, Ginny Weasley is one of the best characters in the book. She's a goon. She's amazing. Well, in the movies, you don't hear from her.
Well, I was going to say, one of the things about books, it's different media. So, of course, it has to change, because, in a movie, you can actually show what you're doing. So, people, it's less confusing because you're seeing what's happening, right? But in a book, it's sometimes hard to describe, a fan. Like you said, the fight in the book is different from the fight in the movie. Well, think about if you were trying to explain in a book format, all them flying around and shooting their wands and doing all this. It's going to be hard. For you to be able to explain it, but in a movie, you see it, and it's a lot easier to do it that way.
See, in the book, that doesn't happen.
No, but that's what I'm saying. In the book, it's done differently than the movie on purpose, because in the book, it's going to be hard to explain all those extra things that are happening of them flying around and shooting the wands and blah, 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 blah. But in the book, if you were trying to read that section, right, it'd be real confusing. You'd be like, what the hell's going on? Okay, they're flying around. Your brain's trying to process what you're reading and everything.
They added more
action. A lot of times that's what stuff happens. Yeah, exactly.
They added more action. Yeah,
because it's easier to understand.
In the book, it's kind of very it's kind of cerebral. They're in the great cafeteria. They're kind of just kind of hitting each other, jabbing each other with their magic. But in the movie, they added more action. They're fighting outside. Neville Longbottom grabs the sword and kills his snake. I don't know if that's in the book. Here's the thing. I didn't read the book. All right, I didn't, and I'm sorry. But yeah, I know that part about the book. And then there's the famous where Dumbledore yells at Harry. He's like, "Did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?" In the book, he doesn't do that. He's like, "Harry, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?" But in the movie, he shows more, animation.
Yeah, exactly. But right then, you started out as the Harry part came out, I was like, oh man, that's almost a good. But as you kept going, it kind of went away. It was when you said Harry as Dumbledore, I was like, oh shit, he's about to put up a good rendition of Dumbledore's voice, but it went away immediately.
Yeah, I'm not British, Justin. I don't have an accent.
You tried though at the very beginning.
No, I didn't.
But here's how it goes. I agree. The books and the movies and stuff that's going to be different, but people did love these, and that's why I said if we would have went back in time, I think this would have been one of the top 3. Possibly, I understand why it's the top 5 right now, and I understand why it's the top 5 in our community because of the fact that, like I said, the geek nerd love superhero movies. Everybody loves those Star Wars and everything else. So in Star Wars isn't going to be part of this, obviously, because of the fact that the movies were not based on novels and books.
They're not books.
Exactly right. But with that being said, Matt, you have anything real quick about Harry Potter? Well, I was going to say before the drum roll.
Okay.
Do you have anything to add to Harry Potter?
No, I've never seen any of them, to be honest.
My man's Matt said he didn't see shit.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna jump in to number 4 on the list, and this one definitely should have made the list, but maybe it should have been a little bit higher. Let's see.
Now, what the hell? What?
The Godfather comes in at number 4. Wow, already got like heat from the crowd. The Godfather, one of the greatest series of all time, especially like the first 2 movies and stuff. Some people don't like the third one sometimes as much or whatnot, but the second one's definitely beloved. But this whole series, The Godfather, like out there, people love this film. People talk about it all the time. It's probably going to still live on for like ages to come and everything as people's, top 5, top 10 movies of all time. And it comes in at our list at number 4, which I said it definitely deserves to be on the list, but maybe the number is a little bit too low. Let's see what our panel here has to say. Cause like The Godfather, like it's on the list. Man, damn,
that's whoever put that at 4. 4? Really?
You know what though? Some people that don't like say mobster or gangster movies that are part of the Patreon and part of our team might not even have threw it on their list.
This isn't a full mobster movie, man. It's a family film. That's the thing that throws people off. It's about family.
It's like Fast and Furious.
You literally.
Yeah, but it's about a mobster family. Like, a normal family don't go around doing things like telling people to take the gun and keep the cannolis or putting like dead.
I love Clemenza. Clemenza is the greatest side character in any film ever, right? Yeah, like you want to talk about a side character, dog. Clemenza is the man. Oh my! I love Clemenza. In the scene where he's basically teaching Michael about killing a man. He's teaching about killing him a man. He's telling him how to kill somebody. But in the same process, he's teaching him how to make sauce. Peter Clemenza is that dude. You look at him, you're like, oh, he's not an assassin. And then he gets you. He gets you while you're getting a massage and he shoots you in your face. Tom, he didn't kill Mo Green. My bad. He killed another man. And like 4, literally 4, bro, man, this is nonsense. The first one is better than any Harry Potters combined.
Wow, dude. Okay, that's good. That's going out there. All right.
The one movie, it's better than that. And that movie is better than most franchises.
I kind of understand the ranking a little bit because, like I said, although a lot of people in this community, in the Let's Get Ready community and stuff like that, like film overall, and they do like movies like The Godfather, it still made the list. That would have been like atrocious if it wouldn't have made the list. So it still made the list. But for what the kind of community we got, there are some people that might not even have put it on their list, or you know what I'm saying, on their top 5 because like they don't care about The Godfather.
Where Michael kills the cop and his humanity gets ripped away from him because he knows he just made the choice to turn he can't turn back now. You murdered a cop. Your humanity is ripped away from you. All right. You're now in this life.
Not even a cop. He was like the chief or something like that. You know what I mean?
Chief,
like
man.
Big time manhunt would go on for that.
Yeah. I'm not even going to tell you. Like my favorite part of the film is when the dude says like he does a big buttload of cocaine and says, "Say hello to my little friend."
That's the Scarface.
Oh yeah. That's wrong movie.
Wrong film.
Well, you know what? Maybe
same guy, wrong film. Same guy, wrong film. By the way, he's not even Cuban in real life, so that's kind of problematic. But yeah, man, and then the scenes in Italy where Michael is trying to like find himself, then he falls in love with Apollonia, and he's like, "Yeah, go girl." She's trying to learn how to drive a car, and he's like, he's like saying hi to her, and then he realizes, oh no, they wired his cardiac side, and he's like, "Apollonia, no!" And he runs, and the car explodes, and he rips the love of his life. Because it's the love of his life. She gets ripped away from him. And then the famous phrase was like, you know what's more dangerous than guns in Italy? What? Italian women. Boom.
Wow. Nice. Yeah. That's a good scene. That's one of the greatest scenes probably of like that people study in films and stuff. I mean, this is obviously a movie that gets studied along with a lot of other movies.
And let's talk about number 2, man, where Justin, man, imagine, bro, you're a mobster. And you got the code, right? and you find out your no, and your no, don't imagine, and your brother screwed up and he betrayed y'all, and the code says he needs to go, and you wait. You don't kill him yet, right? Because you're like, I'm not gonna kill him while mom's still alive. He has a couple good years left on this planet Earth. His brother knows he's on borrowed time. You know you're gonna have to kill your brother in a couple of years. Then your mom finally passes away, and then you finally kill your brother after you kissed him on his forehead, or like the kiss of death, which is on his lips, and he said, "You disappointed me, Fredo." You know, and Fredo, all Fredo wants to do, man. I knew it was you. All Fredo wanted to do was he wanted to be successful. He wanted to lead the family. But Vito knew something. He was not a leader.
No.
Vito knew who the leader was amongst his sons. He knew who it was. It was Michael, Sonny, hothead, too abrasive, out of control. That's what got him killed, because he wanted to go to war after his dad got shot a couple of times.
Has anybody else ever found it weird though? That guy's name, like Fredo, there it's an Italian mob family, and his name, you know, it makes me think of Chicken Alfredo, which is like an Italian cuisine. Like, I mean, every time I hear that dude's name, I get kind of hungry for some chicken Alfredo. Matter of fact, we get done with this section right here talking about these films, I might have to cut out of here, go pick up my son, and grab me some chicken Alfredo from the local Italian place. To be honest with you, now it's like all up in my belly and my mouth.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you, bro.
I'm tasting the Alfredo in my mouth right now, like the good ingredients. Too, man. Here's the thing too. Like movies are. These movies have great actors, it's great actors, great directors, great storytelling, all put into one. I call it the trifecta. When a movie can hit all three things. There's a lot of movies out there that hits 2 out of the 3, right? Like where it's got a bunch of that stuff, but not all of it. This film has it all. Like it's got all the good, all the great things. That's why it deserves to be on the list, and probably even higher.
The wedding scene, bro. The first scene in the entire franchise. It's the wedding scene. Talia Shire's getting married to that douchebag. I don't know that who got beat up by Sonny. Yeah. You know, and then like you kind of root for Sonny, but then you realize the man's an adulterer. He's like banging everything that walks, and he's banging. Yo, man, the scene where he's banging a family friend upstairs while his wife is cooking in the kitchen. Like, bro, like it's crazy, and like his wife can't leave him because I'm like, bro, married into mom.
I do like to point out that we're not against banging. We're only against it if, like, you know, like it's something bad happening, like non-consent. Like if it's consensual, the banging's okay. Yes. And as long as you're not married, okay, and not dedicated to
don't do
person.
adultery. Don't do adultery. Don't do it. Yeah, man, and like he's into even number 3, man. Number 3 is crushed underneath the expectations of 1 and 2. Like number 3 had no shot to be successful in the eyes of people. It had no shot.
Okay, so like I'll make a comparison here, like with this. Do you think Godfather 3 is kind of like Aliens 3? Like where the first 2 Alien movies were like super great, and the third one wasn't that bad, but people crap on it all the time just because also they consider it the worst.
The new cut of Godfather, the Godfather Coda, you know, that cut, that's Francis Ford Coppola's cut. You know, you see how, you know, the one cut was a studio's cut, and then the second one you see what's his face? What's his name?
Francis Ford
Ridley
Coppola?
Scott. You see Ridley Scott? That's how you're supposed to recut a film. You don't take 4 times or 3 times. You don't do that. You cut it again. Boom, right there.
Or you shoot everything originally and not do what the Snyder cut did, and like actually just go and do a bunch of reshoots, which to me is not a cut because you didn't cut it the first time. Like, get out of here, bro. Let's stop calling it the Snyder cut, because it's a Snyder new film, basically, because he went and like shot a bunch of new stuff to add on to the movie.
Why are we still talking about that? It's like 2 years ago.
Hey, man, it is what it is. It hit me in a way. But let's move from number 4 here. We covered that one pretty well. Let's move into the number 3 on the list. And we'll see if everybody else agrees with it. But, baby, we went with The Princess Bride. Now, I'm not going to lie here, guys. I love the fact that this is on the list. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. That's right. You can add it, mark it down, you know, write it down, whatever you want to do, clip it. I don't care. The biggest thing here, 100%, is that this is one of the greatest stories ever told, especially as like a younger person. Like when I was a kid and I watched this film, it was like amazing. It was awesome. It hit all the right notes. Thought the actors all did real well. It's got Andre the Giant, for God's sakes, one of the biggest men to ever live and walk the earth. Like, just telling this tale. You see the name, The Princess Bride, and it like turns you away, kind of. If you like, when I was a young boy growing up, I was like, man, who wants to watch a Princess Bride, man? That sounds like some stupid stuff, like a bunch of kissy and huggy, and that's even put into the story, but then it turns it on its head, and it's one of the funniest films. It's one of the best films ever that, like, if you're feeling down, right, and you need to pick me up, or you just need to have something lift up your spirits a little bit, is to go to The Princess Bride. I mean, here goes some of the characters. That was the poster for the film back in the day, because they actually did like artwork back then. They didn't just digitize people on posters and everything else. But this is like a shot from the film with Andre the Giant. Rest in peace, big man. But yeah, this film right here, I totally am glad and happy and love the fact that this film made the list, made the cut. Matt obviously doesn't agree, because he bounced out quicker than a hiccup whenever I pulled it up or whatever, or maybe he does agree and he's teary-eyed because he's so happy that this made the list. We'll find out when he comes back. But Ferris, man, what do you think about The Princess Bride, number 3?
I've never seen it, and it's definitely not above The Godfather.
Like, but you can't really say that without ever seeing it, man.
People do that all the time.
I mean, come on, dude. Some of there's a lot of quotes in this film that are still done. I mean, like, you got the guy here on the left with the sword saying, like, my name is Indigo Montoya, and this time, you know, you killed my brother, and everything else. Like,
that
you got
one
like,
quote.
Well, no, man, you got like the quote of like the bad guy that you see right here in the middle, talking about like, because they keep saying, yeah, like he does awesome in this film. What's
this quote, Justin? You talking about these quotes?
Because I'm gonna mess it up, because I wasn't prepared to have to say the quotes from the film. But like in this one particularly,
you don't have
like,
see. Here's the thing, Justin. I didn't need to. I knew the Godfather quotes. I didn't need practice. I knew the quotes already.
But like in this film, for instance, like the guy keeps saying like, "Crap, man." Now I'm messed up. I like knew it like 5 seconds ago, and now I'm having a brain fart. But it's like, just the film, I loved it. You also got, like, this is one of the most underrated things. You got home dude on the right here, Cary Elwes, I think is his name.
Yep, that's
he actually played in the movie Saw, and he's the guy that cut his foot off to escape the room. But Matt, dude, you bounced out of here. Was it because you teared up because this made the list, or was it because you were unhappy that it made the list?
No, I'm glad it made the list. No, I actually I had to talk to my uncle and I got a phone call. So, but anyways. No, I love The Princess Bride. I've never read the book, but
I didn't even know it was a book.
Well, that's what we're doing here, right?
I didn't even know.
But anyways, yeah, like, just, you know, I like how they did the like, he's reading them a story and then they would cut back to them sometimes and shit like that. You know, I really like that. And just the way the story was told, you know, like, fucking, I don't know, like, you wouldn't pause that movie for any reason, really. Like, it's almost a perfect movie, probably.
I agree, like, in the way that it's told and like the kind of comedy feel that it has. It's kind of like a movie, like, almost to the point in some cases, like a Spaceballs or something like that, but it doesn't go that far. Like, to me, this movie drawed that perfect line of like, yo, like, you can have some goofiness to it and some fun with it. And it does go out there and you know, does its thing and gets a little weird a couple of times, but it doesn't go as far out as, say, like a movie like Spaceballs or something like that like goes way out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything's got to be a joke. Not every little moment was a joke in here. It was just things like more like characters being in certain positions that made it funny, kind of deal. And stuff like that. But anyway, the guy, I just remembered what the word was. The guy. So the one guy keeps saying like inconceivable because like they're getting chased by this guy, and the guy keeps like catching up with them no matter what they do. Yeah. So like he keeps saying inconceivable, and the one guy like I don't know if you know what that word means. Because every time he says it, like the actual opposite happens. It's actually conceivable because it happens. But no, it's just funny stuff in the movie. It's great, especially for like younger people. But I fell in love with it so much, I still carry it on with me to this day. Yeah. If somebody's like, "Hey, you want to watch The Princess Bride and hang out?" Like, unless something important's going on or whatever, I'm jumping in. I'm watching the film.
You know what, Justin? Great men are not born great; they grow great. That's all I gotta say.
I got you. Well, let's jump on to the number 2
Godfather
on the list. Number 2 with the drum roll, and this is a big day. This is a big one because everybody back in the day when you were a kid loved the dinosaurs, man. Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
An actual book first by Michael Crichton, I think it was.
He was probably my favorite novelist.
Yep. So, like, here we go, baby. The dinosaurs come to play, and the humans come there to get ate. One of my favorite things of all times in almost any movies, the favorite scenes is around this part of the film, actually, where we had the guy had to go. He like the freaking T-Rex comes out, and obviously you got the joke of like this dude basically almost shit his pants. So he runs out of the truck, goes and gets like in the porta potty or whatever they had set aside in case people need to go to the bathroom in the park. Man jumps in the toilet, boom, T-Rex just bites the house apart. And now he's just sitting there all alone in the rain on the commode and gets his butt tore up, man. Great movie, great fun, wonderful ride to the film. Like, there's just so many things that's happening, so much action, so many things with the dinosaurs. I wish that things like King Kong versus Godzilla, or even like the Godzilla movie, or in some cases, the original Godzilla, or the newest one that came out, would have actually focused on the actual, the monsters, because that's what you were there to do. And this film, of course, they had the setup time of how the dinosaurs was made, why they even exist. But once that gets over with, once you get into the big time plot of the movie, like, it's nothing but dinosaurs all over the place, all kinds, and just a fun, huge thrill ride. I mean, how many times as a kid did you just think about, man, what would it be like if I was like, or walking in the forest and a T-Rex shows up all of a sudden?
Yeah, everyone's fascinated with dinosaurs. I
have a question. So the first one is just the book. The sequels are not books.
I think Crichton actually made or wrote more than one book. And part 2 may have been based loosely on the book and stuff. Now, it did start going further and further away, but I think Michael Crichton actually wrote more than just one novel.
There's only three.
No,
there's 3 originals.
Yeah, he wrote a movie called Andromeda Strain. He wrote wrote and directed Westworld, the one that came out in the 70s. Movie Congo is based on his novel.
Here's the thing. I don't care about that film. I'm talking about Jurassic Park, Matt. How many?
We're talking about that he make. I think he wrote sequels. I think in the book series he wrote more than one book. I think he wrote more than one book. I know the original was Michael Crichton.
Sequels. Because if he wrote book sequels, this shouldn't be number 2. Because I know a lot of people who watch these films who be like, "Oh, number 1 is great. The other 2 suck." So I don't know how this is number 2.
Oh, I'm sorry. The second one was called Fallen Kingdom. That's the second novel.
Isn't that Jurassic World?
Well, that's what they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically,
people don't like those films either.
No, they're trash.
So how the hell is this?
Well, that's just because of execution.
How
though.
the hell
that's
is this number 2 then? I know, but you still got to execute the adaptation. If the movie sucks, it's not a good adaptation.
Well, no, this movie doesn't suck. This movie doesn't suck.
Exactly. Are we talking the franchise or just number 1?
No. Well, number 1. The other ones, we threw the franchises all together because we didn't want there to be 3 Harry Potter movies or 3 Lord of the Ring or whatever kind of stuff.
So it's 1 Godfather. What's the 1 Princess
Well, it's the
Bride.
cumulative of Godfather. Like, for this one, you could just do Jurassic Park by itself.
You could do Godfather by itself. Godfather better than.
But then people would probably say, "Oh, I like 2 better than 1." So you have
to
do 2.
Fair. So when we came up with this, we just didn't want there to be like.
No, I know what we did, Justin. I was there. Stop talking to me like I know what we were doing because I was there during the meeting. I know what we were doing.
Then how come you're questioning like
no?
This?
That's because the Harry Potter thing threw me off. But I'm just saying this. So we're just doing 1. Godfather 1 is
this
just
is
as
particularly
good as,
the Jurassic Park, the original film.
Yeah, Godfather.
That movie is so good that even though the other 5 movies suck, that first movie was so good that people still look at that as being one of the greatest. Like, not only
I'm just saying 4 for the Godfather is a little too low with these 2 films above it. No offense.
Yeah, in your taste, you know what I mean? Like, but because you got to consider this was a bunch of.
How dare you talk about my taste?
No, I'm just saying. Yeah, for your list, it's too low.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I love the Godfather as well, but Jurassic Park and seeing a T-Rex. Look,
this is the internet.
I love the Godfather.
We can only have one opinion. Goddammit.
Yeah, but not. Look. I get what you're saying to a little point, but I would have ranked Jurassic Park above the Godfather because personally, I think it's way funner and even better.
Funner's not a
T-Rex eat a guy off a toilet than see the Godfather talk about like family and respect and everything. And
and I bet that part wasn't in the book.
Yeah, even though that's great in its own right, like you see the movie Jurassic Park.
So you don't like the slow decay of a man's humanity being ripped away from him as he becomes the master criminal, but you prefer a man being ripped off of a toilet by a T-Rex?
Listen, and here goes the thing. Godfather deserves all the credit in the world and everything else, but when you come to mob movies and stuff, I actually have movies that I put on there. That's why I made the joke earlier about like, and I don't know, I guess that's not.
Yeah, you prefer Goodfellas.
Big time mob, but I like Goodfellas. I like Scarface, you know, for instance, those kind of things. Even though Scarface maybe not be like an actual mob movie, it's the same sort of style of movie, right? Where you're taking a villain, following their story and stuff. So like those movies, I actually would rank even Casino. I like even Casino better than The Godfather, to be honest with you. So like, but anyway, that's my thing is like
Casino's based on a book.
What's that?
Casino's based on a book.
Yeah. I actually might have threw it on my list actually for it to make it, because when I saw some people putting The Godfather on their list, and I was like, well, that's good, but Godfather wouldn't rank as my top like style mob movie. Like I actually have others ranked above that. Whereas dinosaur movies, Jurassic Park's number one. Like the original movie Jurassic Park, like I said, is
what's number two? Land Before Time. You know what I mean?
How many dinosaur movies are there, Justin? This is only the Jurassic Park.
There's a bunch of animated, movies and stuff like
the
that.
Animation. And then shout out to the animation. Shout out to Michael K. The animation.
There's Velociraptor.
Velocipaster.
They have Velocipaster out there. We got like there's a couple out there. I mean, you can almost consider, because technically they are sort of is like say a Godzilla movie as like a dinosaur movie, because that's kind of like what it is.
Not a dinosaur.
Well, a big thing about this movie you got to realize, it came out in 94, right? Or 93?
Dude, in the graphics.
94.
93.
Oh, okay, 93. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like this was a technological marvel, because they mixed real animatronic puppets with digital effects and shit like that, and they did it seamlessly. And if you look at it today, a lot of the effects still hold up.
Yeah, dude. Like I agree. Like I'm going to say this right now. Jurassic Park may be one of the huge influence on like being able to do that CGI and stuff, and people knowing like, oh crap, this is what they can do. They can actually make dinosaurs look real. Like I actually think that this was a bigger jump than per se what we had with the first Avatar. Yeah. Like the Avatar looked great, and it was like one of the greatest things for 3D. But like to me, Jurassic Park's jump from what we had before 93 to like that type of movie happening was like leaps and bounds above like what you would get before.
The only one I'd say before that was really big like that was The Abyss for effects. You know what I mean? Like that, those still hold up today too.
But also here's the thing too. They also did, it was an animatronics with CGI. That's the thing that this movie really showed you. Like, you can't do full CGI.
Yeah.
You need real animatronics.
They need to interact with real things.
Yes.
Yeah, man. You know what? This is a great time for me to step up on a little bit of a soapbox here, because like
Justin, we don't have them. We don't have them.
No, we have plenty of time for this bull crap. Listen to me. All right, here's how it goes. CGI to me is like the freaking automated cash registers at damn Walmart. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why I love practical stuff, because like real people put their hands on it and make it, and then you can mix it up with a little bit of CGI and have the computer people work with the hard working carpenters and stuff like that, or engineers that put these things together, and everything else just keep the jobs out there and stuff like that. I hate it when these movies go straight 100% CGI, because it's only like 4 or 5 people in computers. Like sometimes it's bigger crew than that, according to how big the movie is. But you have these people on the computers sitting on their rear ends, not really doing no hard work, physical labor. Like I want to be able to see the fruits of that, like how they made this. It's like really cool, like in horror films and stuff. Like how did they make this body explode, or like in this movie, like how did they make these like dinosaurs look so real, like with the practical effects and the CGI put together. And like I said, people lost jobs because of just straight CGI in some cases and everything else. Like just like people lost their jobs, like being able to check out
like the whole craft, puppetry and shit like that,
Yeah, dude, like puppetry, really. Like Star Wars, man, like back in the day. Like, and I hated the fact that like in the prequels, like they went so much CGI, you know what I'm saying? They still had some practical stuff going on and mixture in it a little bit, but yeah, they went so hardcore CGI. And I get it a little bit. It's like, oh yeah, this is brand new technology. Let's use it. So I understand that a little bit, but yeah, dog, I like it where you can honestly see, like, to me, it makes like everything look more realistic and lived in. Like, I love the Andor series that we just covered on the channel not long ago because of that simple fact. Like, they dirtied up the windows and stuff because the
Yeah.
town's supposed to be grimy. You know what I'm saying? Like those type of details and everything else just makes it like more believable. More believable.
Well, one thing we also haven't talked about with this film is that fucking score. Everyone
Oh,
knows
yeah.
that score. When you
I
hear
mean-
that shit, everyone thinks of the gates opening in Jurassic Park and shit, you know?
I mean, come on, bro. You got Steven Spielberg, you got George Lucas. I'm gonna guess like who is a person that put that
John
score
Williams.
together?
John
Yeah,
Williams.
John Williams did it, babe. John Williams did every score that you can think of. Hum to yourself, like Jaws, Jurassic Park, Star Wars, like Superman. The dude did so many things, like all the scores that you think of that you actually like hum along to, or as soon as you hear it, like it just resonates with you or whatever, is almost John Williams, period. Then now more recently, because he's obviously getting older, you have people like Giacchino and stuff like that coming out of nowhere. That's right. I know more than one composer. I know more than one composer. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Finally.
break that down. Well, after that world shocking news in effect, let's get down to the last one. The number one ranked books of film adaptation of all time, as set by our community, Lord of the Rings. Now, I figured that this one right here was going to win number one. If Star Wars has been able to be put on here, that should have been number one. But Star Wars ain't based on like books, obviously. But Lord of the Rings obviously is written by Tolkien a long time ago. And it's got everything that you would want in a fantasy kind of epic. To be honest with you, like you can make your jokes about like, oh, it's just a bunch of people walking to a mountain and everything else. And it's basically you're watching a trip that's set on foot and everything else. But nah, man, take the jokes aside. One of the greatest ever trilogies ever put to film right here. 1, 2, and 3 all have its points, all have their good parts, all are like almost like this is one of those things to where sometimes things get put together and a director and their team just hit perfection. Kind of like when Silence of the Lambs, Jonathan Demme did Silence of the Lambs, one of the greatest movies of all time. But like he didn't make a lot of great movies after that or even before that. This is one of those things where Peter Jackson and that team put together one of the greatest things. This is obviously one of the Peter Jackson's, if not Peter Jackson's biggest shining moment of all time. Like he even tried to come back and get that magic with like the second part of the films for a Hobbit series movies. And like that didn't actually fall like he thought it would and everything else. A lot of people don't like those films. But yeah, dude, this is like the perfect time.
It's probably because they tried to make a book that was 110 pages, 3 movies.
Yeah, true.
That's probably why no one
4 hours long each.
Yeah,
100%. 100%.
Probably that, you know, and then you know, forcing Ian McKellen to act with green screens.
Yeah. Well, the thing too, though, about those the Lord of the Rings movies is that it was a single person's vision. You know what I mean? Like Peter Jackson got everything he wanted in that movie with the extended cut. I know they shortened it.
But here's the thing too, Matt.
Go ahead.
They were doing all 3 movies at the same time.
Yes. That was the thing I was going to bring up. This is one of the first times.
Here's the thing. Imagine a director to this day says, "Hey, I want to shoot my 3 films all at the same time."
Yeah, you're going to be booked for 2 years at least. You
Literally,
know what I mean?
like imagine that, bro.
Perfect.
Imagine if Denis Villeneuve was like, "I'm gonna make Dune. We're gonna shoot Dune 1, 2, and 3 all at the same time."
Yeah. I actually love the fact because this is one of the first films. It may even be the first film ever that was they knew they were doing a trilogy and they filmed them back to back to back because this is a great thing, right? I made the joke about Fredo earlier and chicken Alfredo, and I almost forgot that I made that joke and almost forgot I needed to pick up some chicken Alfredo.
We get it, Justin. You're hungry. We get it.
Right. So, like, with that being said, think about this, though. This is a point I'm making. It's outside the box kind of thinking here, but like, here's a good point is that when you film them back to back to back, those kind of things, I'm just saying how easy it is to forget stuff. So like maybe you had a great idea for that film too, but you take a 2-year break, you come back and you forget for whatever reason, like, oh crap. And then like, it's too late because now you remember it and you already gone too far or any of that stuff. When you actually are able to do this back to back to back, like he did, there's just nothing but like Matt brought up, like one guy's version of this, and it was coherent because they literally had a game plan, they put it together, and they were able to do it nonstop instead of taking these large breaks in between and everything else.
No, but here's the thing too, like if the first one flopped,
oh wow, they said it's gonna
if the first one flopped,
oh yeah,
people would have been fired, somebody would have been bankrupt. and all hell would have broke loose in Hollywood.
Yeah. Well, I
There
mean,
you
the
go.
thing though is that movies, they look at the dailies, like the head executives, and so they
Mhm.
make sure shit's on track. They'll cut it real quick if they're not liking what they see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I
No,
know
but
there
here's
had
the
to be
thing.
mad oversight on that.
But here's the thing
project.
too. Even if the head executive likes what they see, sometimes the public don't like what they saw.
No,
You
that's
know,
true. No, that's
you
totally
know what I
true.
mean? Like, yeah, because sometimes the public's like, yeah, no, we don't see what you're saying. This movie stinks, and
Yeah.
then you keep it moving. Like, imagine if like, I know there was a big book population, but sometimes the book people don't like the films, so you had to convince
True.
the book people that you're making a good film,
Mhm.
and then you had to convince the general public to care about these films. You know
Yep.
what I mean? But then
But
here's
also,
the
these are books written years before they ever did the
exactly. These are
movie.
like
So
these
like,
books are pretty goddamn old. Also, too, here's the thing that how they kind of used the award season as a great marketing tool. All three films were all nominated for at least like 9 Oscars each.
Yeah.
I think Return of the King was like 13.
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
And I
it
think
won.
Two
And
Towers was like 12.
it broke records. I think it
Yeah,
won like
it broke
11 Academy Awards.
yeah, it
Yep.
broke records, right? So they were this was the thing. Unfortunately, I gotta say his name. This is what Harvey Weinstein did in Hollywood. You know, he saw a film and he made sure that film got awards so they can use the awards as promotion for re-releases. Like, hey, come and watch Oscar-winning film Yabba Dabba Doo Hunts Yabba Dabba Doo. And you're like, oh, this won the Oscar for Best Picture, this little
Yeah.
film. Let me
I
go
gotta
watch
see
it.
this. Yeah.
You know, I gotta see this, right? That was the key. He used the Oscars to kind of prop the other ones, and
Yeah.
and here's the thing too. Most of this was practical, and the benefit of shooting in New Zealand, because
Yeah.
it was apparently very cheap to shoot in New Zealand. Very cheap. It kind of threw the New Zealand actor market into kind of whirlwind because there wasn't a lot of New Zealanders in the film.
Yeah.
But let's
Right?
be honest here. New Zealand is sexy. You know what I'm saying? Like when it comes to it, it's got that hourglass figure, pop,
Those
pow, you know what I'm
rolling
saying?
hills and shit.
New Zealand is sexy. You know what I'm saying? Like I belong in New Zealand because I'm sexy. That's one of the like biggest things that's happened in this world that I think is a travesty. That I should have been planted. My parents should have been New Zealanders so that I would have been in New Zealand. But maybe God did it on purpose because you know what I'm saying? Like you put too much things too sexy in one part of the world.
Yeah.
He wanted to spread it out. So I can't hate. So he put me in one of the ugliest places in the world, Alabama. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. I understand what's going on here. But the thing about like this whole thing too is like you got to give this group of films props. Even though like Star Wars and stuff like that's higher up on my list personally as far as like franchises go, right?
Yeah.
Like Lord of the Rings isn't my top one. I do give Lord of the Rings respect because before this, Star Wars would get like, special effects nominations and stuff at the Oscars and everything else. But they wouldn't get like real consideration for some of the real big time players like actor spots or best film or whatever. Lord of the Rings was able to break that mold, right? Finally, these like epic fantasy films, these like films that like people would consider, like I said earlier, like in the nerd culture or geek culture, whatever you want to call it these days, like give them like their props. Like I actually think that Return of the King won so many awards because like I think the people at the Oscars realized, dude, that first film was beautiful. Yeah. That second film was beautiful. We didn't give them enough awards. Like it's almost like that third one, even though I do like that movie is really good and everything, but I actually think the third one won even more awards than it normally would. It was almost like makeup. We should have probably been giving these first two films a bunch of awards as well. So we're going to feast upon this one right here.
One more thing.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, my bad. Here's the thing. So out of the 30 nominations they got, the Lord of the Rings films, 30 nominations.
Right.
They won 17 of them. So they won half, basically above half.
Yeah, and you got to think about that. The last movie won like 11 by themselves.
See, Return of the King won 11 by itself. It's tied for the record.
Yeah.
For most Oscar wins at the awards, tied with Titanic and Ben-Hur. So it holds that record. And here's the thing, Justin, it kind of opened the gates to the fantasy, right? Fantasy was open like back in the day, like the fantasy film, whatever. It's a
that's some Dungeons and Dragons bull.
Yeah.
And
then now fantasy was opened up. Elves, dwarves, magic, dead people. You know what I mean? A man broke his toe. Did you know Aragorn broke his toe when he kicked that helmet? Did you know that, Justin?
No.
Did you know that? No?
Yeah.
Know that? Yeah, I know that. You know how I know that? because Lord of the Rings fans won't ever shut the hell up about it.
One more
so
thing
I,
gonna, oh,
go,
sorry,
man,
I'm
man.
so
sorry.
sorry.
No, you good, man. Go.
Okay. One more thing I was going to say, though, too, and I'm pretty sure this is true. This was the first movie that had a full CGI character that people fell in love with and believed, was, yeah, exactly. Because after that, it was like Jar Jar Binks, and look how everyone fucking hated him. You know what I mean? So, like,
before that, yeah.
This was a big step in that aspect, too. Because look how many people do mocap now, the fucking 8 movies,
Andy Serkis.
Crazy. Yeah, exactly.
Andy Serkis, yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Andy Serkis can't even swim, but then he
Andy
was
Serkis
Snoke,
is the goat, dude. Andy
he can't even
Serkis.
swim, he's Snoke. And you know what happened? He probably got knocked off the balcony, fell down into the water, maybe hit a rock. That's why it's got an indentation in his head. They picked up his dead ass body and made him a clone, and now he's Snoke. You know what I'm saying? It's probably what happened.
No,
I ain't even gonna be mad.
Here's the thing, bro. Andy Serkis is the goat, bro. Andy Serkis made me care about an ape, bro. I cared about Caesar.
Look, Andy Serkis made me. I ain't gonna say like because like his character was actually a bad guy, but I'm just saying like I like the overall character in the movie. But Andy Serkis made me.
Gollum?
No. Andy Serkis made
That's
me.
That's the character's name, Smeagol Gollum. There's Smeagol, then there's Gollum. He was playing 2 characters at the same time.
Oh yeah, 100%. But like the point I was trying to make though is like Andy Serkis is so good at what he does that he made me like like a character, a white man in Black Panther. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like his character was super great and good, like out of nowhere in this thing, and it's like, bro,
the Tolkien white guys.
Yeah,
that's what they were called. That's what they were called. They were called the Tolkien white guys because the other white guy in the film was Bilbo Baggins, Martin Freeman, and then the other one was Smeagol Gollum. And
that's
Andy
actually
Serkis,
funny as hell. I didn't even know that before I said that. That's actually great.
Yeah, they were called the Tolkien white guys. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's actually like funny because like they were, they had that joke on the token, whatever, right? Like,
yeah.
So you got the token.
Martin Freeman revealed that joke on the Graham Norton show when they were promoting. He was promoting a film and they talked about Black Panther. And like, oh yeah, me and Andy Serkis, we were the Tolkien white guys.
That's hilarious because honestly I didn't even know that, but when I was making that comparison, it's like, bro, Andy Serkis is just great. You know what I'm saying?
He's amazing, like, dog.
No matter what.
Because here's the thing too. In that film, right? He's playing 2 characters.
Yeah.
He's not playing Gollum, right? So Smeagol is he the evil person or is it Gollum?
Gollum's the evil person. He was a hobbit. He was called Smeagol.
So the hobbit Smeagol wanted to help them. And he would come out and fight Gollum to help them. And he helped them up the mountain. And there were moments where he's fighting Gollum. And why do you think when they're up the mountain out of nowhere, he attacks them? Right? You didn't know because Smeagol was in control of the body at the moment, but then Gollum finally got control and he went after them.
Yeah.
And then when they finally throw the ring into the fire pit, and then you see him just
jumps after it. He's so
But in that moment, you don't know who he is in that moment because Smeagol fell in love with it, and then he became Gollum. But then Gollum wants it forever. So at that moment, you're like, did Smeagol, fall?
Yeah, you see that look in his eyes.
Or is Gollum back for?
I've always kind of thought about this, like what part of him was actually the one getting melted in the lava, right? Because like as he's like falling, he catches up with a ring and he gets it, and you kind of see his face for a second.
Adelia's about to be like, "What are they talking about?" when she sees this video.
It is what it is. I mean, she is a professional Lord of the Rings. I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't think she did, but I mean, she loves Lord of the Rings so much, she might have compiled the points and gave them a couple extra ones. Maybe that's why they're like,
no. Hey, no, we have integrity here. We have integrity. God damn it. Now, but here's the thing, like, I never really loved these films, right? And I finally watched them. I like them. I love them. But here's the thing, like, as a story, I'm like, whatever. The reason I love these films is just the marvel of the scale of how it was done.
The scope.
I'm in love with. All of it, everything was made. Their chainmail was made. Their clothing was everything. They were made, bro. Everything was made. You know, everything was practical. That was a mountain.
They had miniatures to shoot them.
Look, it's funny. Matt laughed at the fact that I said they really walked, but like, actually, there is a point to that. It's like
they really walked.
They
literally walked.
They were walking literally on the mountain, right? Like it wasn't like them walking on a treadmill or some bullshit with some CGI in the background. It was literally they were walking on the mountainous region of New Zealand, which is really super awesome and cool.
Riding horses and shit.
That shit is dangerous, dude.
Yeah,
that shit is dangerous. And here's the thing: also the orcs. You know, look at those orc armies. Like, look how much costumes they had to make.
Yeah.
Like the amount of people.
Mhm.
You know, and then Theoden King, where he says, "So it begins," and then they go to war. The Battle of Helm's Deep is awesome.
You brought up a good point too, but I'm gonna say this little thing right here, this caveat. Like if you were playing like one of the orcs or whatever in this film, like you knew what kind of standing you had as far as the orc, or like if you were going to be shown,
you're probably going to die
by like, well, no, not only that, but like you knew like how big of a figure you were going to be, or how much you were going to get screen time by like how ornate your armor was and stuff, like how good it looked. Because you know the guys in the back, dude, they were barely wearing some cheap ass leather.
Yes.
They didn't do it as good, you know what I'm saying? Because they wasn't really on screen for very long and all that kind of good stuff. But with that being said, like, nah, it's funny to think about. Like, if you walked into your wardrobe session and yours was like the thing, like the leather, and it's really detailed and it's got like symbols and stuff on it, you was like, yeah, I'm big dog, baby. I'm big dog. I'm gonna be on camera. But if you just want
if you're just the guy with the loincloth and the shield,
bro, your ass is like
you're dead.
Not only dead pretty quick, but you may not even make it on screen. You know what I'm saying? Like for that part. But yeah, dude, it was fun talking about this stuff. I would like to congratulate and thank you, like all of our Patreons out there. Without you guys, this stuff right here. So all these people right here were able to vote on this. And like I said, this is a cumulative this point total of like everybody ranking their top 5. We are going to be doing our next one, like I said, probably between Christmas and New Year's, due to this month because we were behind on this one. And it's going to be the top 5 Christmas movies. We've already got some people putting in their endpoint. If you want to join along, you can join the Patreon. Starts as little as $1. Everybody on this particular things, everybody, the $1 Patreons up to the $15 Patreons gets to vote on these and sit in their things. And everything else. And we got different tiers, obviously, from the different things. You got the Hambone Heroes, Danny's Angels, the LGR family, and the LGR execs and stuff like that. And man, just really glad to be part of the community. Really glad to have the people that we have part of the community and everything else, and having like super fun doing certain things. We even have a new sports channel that's about to get started full effect. It's already there. You can already go subscribe. We've already called almost everything up, and that's about to be full effect over there. Where you get like Ferris and Caleb, and sometimes I pop on there with a short about certain things that's happening in sports. But we also have the things that we have over here on the original channel about entertainment, man. Entertainment News Break, which actually being filmed later tonight. This is probably going to drop on Wednesday, but on Tuesday nights, we do the Entertainment News Break where we talk about all the entertaining news. And then we do stuff like this is obviously on the channel where we do like some top 5 like rankings and all that good stuff. And thank you guys for being there, and appreciate you just for being who you are, man. And thank you, Matt and Ferris, for joining me today on the
no problem
LGR Community Rankings.
You know what? All you got to do.
I'ma need a day off.
It cut off. I think he froze.
I froze.
Yeah. Ferris froze, bro. Ferris froze. He's stuck like doing like he's trying to make a phone call.
Man,
you need this one,
man, dude. My man, he called me. But there you go, guys. But thank you. Until next time. Peace.